Lexington running community is calling for safer places to run, and they say an easy solution would be offering public track use.
WKYT's Grayson Passmore tells us why the free access could benefit people for generations to come. It's a story new at 11.
Where can I get public access to a track? And the answer is you can't.
For the past 25 years, members of Lexington's running community have been working to fill a large gap.
We've gone so long as a community without a track that many people don't realize we should have one.
At John's Run Walk Shop, Riley Marshall says there's no access to public track use in the city, and he can name many reasons there should be, starting with accessibility.
You don't need a whole lot of equipment to run. It's not an expensive sport. If we can offer a way for people to participate in an active sport earlier on in life, they can carry those habits through adulthood.
Matt Reno says they started the conversation on their podcast, Kentucky Running, where they delve into the benefits of track use, like offering a safer alternative for runners and walkers.
They can go to the track and not have to deal with traffic. It could be a place that's better lit than their neighborhood, possibly.
The two say one easy solution is if universities and high schools hold public track hours.
But the number one thing that people can do it from, the comfort of your own home even to support this is to reach out to your local council people, reach out to your government, tell them what you're wanting.
For the youngest of runners to the oldest.
We have a number of nationally ranked athletes in the area, nationally ranked relay teams. These are track athletes that are doing this without track access. And we would really like to see where they can go with full support.
In Lexington, Grayson Passmore, WKYT.
And Marshall says it's also important to fill out those surveys from city government. There you can offer your input when city leaders are creating their master plans.